Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 28 of the Drop It Weight Loss, Wellness, Wisdom podcast. This podcast is tailor-made for those of you with weight to lose, those of you that are losing weight now, and those of you that are bathing in the success of your weight loss accomplishment. If it's your first time on the podcast, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Nick Geoppo, and 5 years ago, I lost 110 pounds after 6 consecutive years of gaining and losing 50 plus pounds every single year. I've since dedicated my life to helping other people live better, healthier lives by first losing weight and getting in shape so they can feel good in their own bodies. So if that sounds like something that you want to do, then you are in the right place, and welcome to the show. This episode is brought to you by our very own community, the Drop It community. It launches on July 1st, which is 5 days after the release of this podcast episode. So this will be your last opportunity to join the founding members waitlist. If you're interested in doing that and you want this to be your last day one and you want to actually lose the weight and actually keep the weight off, click the link in the description of this podcast episode. This community offers the simplified plan, the support, and the inspiration you need to lose weight and actually keep the weight off. It takes all of the complexity out of losing weight. All of these lessons that I learned through an entire lifetime of dealing with trying to figure out how to have a better relationship with food, trying to figure out what foods to eat to lose weight, trying to figure out how to think about food less, trying to figure out how to believe in myself more. I took all of these lessons and I put them in a structured plan. It's called the 12 Weeks to Forever Sustainable Weight Loss Program, and it's a part of the Drop It community. So that's the first thing that's in it for you. The second thing is live group coaching calls with me twice per week and recordings of these calls. So you'll be speaking with me directly. The third thing is the community itself. Weight loss can be isolating. You're going to be supported by a large group of people on the exact same journey as you. It's a space for you to share what's working and what's not working, to get support and motivation from other people. And the last thing that's included here are masterclasses on a variety of topics. Things like emotional and binge eating, things like sugar freedom and how to conquer sugar addiction, and regular new classes all the time. Some of the perks that you get for being a founding member is you get locked in at a lifetime rate. So pricing is going to go up as the community grows here in the next few months. If you want to get locked in at a lifetime discounted rate, you're going to want to join the waitlist and join in the beginning. The second thing is 2 different $500 giveaways. One is going to be announced on July 7th, the other one on July 31st. And thirdly is the opportunity to win free lifetime access. The winner for that is going to be announced on June 27th, which is just 2 days after the release of this podcast. So stay in touch on Instagram and pay attention to the stories. If you want to win free lifetime access, go ahead and join the waitlist. Now, is this community for you? If these ring true, then this is the community for you. Number one is you want to lose weight the right way and finally keep it off. That's probably everyone on here. Number two is you've tried countless fad diets. How many fad diets have you tried to lose weight? I tried all of them. Keto, the chicken, broccoli, and rice diet. I tried intermittent fasting. I tried OMAD, 1 meal a day. I tried water fasting. I tried gluten-free one time as a method of losing weight. I tried ultra-low carb, tried ultra-low fat. I've done all of these at different times, and I realized that the way you lose weight dictates how sustainable your results are. So if you're someone that's tried countless fad diets and has gained the weight back, you're going to want to check out some of the lessons here that are to be taught. If you feel helpless and confused, you don't even know where to start, you obsess over food, you're ready to make health your top priority, you struggle to stay motivated. I just don't know how to stay motivated. I get motivated when I listen to a podcast, but then I turn the podcast off and the motivation's kind of gone, and I just go back to the way that things were. That's how I was as well. So much of weight loss is less about what you eat and more about why you're eating it. We talk about relationship with food all the time. To listen to me talk about it is one thing, but to actually implement things in a structured manner is something different. And that's what this community ultimately offers. So if you feel overwhelmed, you don't know what to eat, and you feel like being overweight is making your life harder than it needs to be, I made this just for you. This is my life mission, and it's so rewarding to see this come to fruition because all of these things that just controlled my fucking life for so long are are all here. It feels like a baby to me. This feels like my kid. And I feel like I'm watching my kid grow up, and I'm just smiling ear to ear, watching this come to fruition, and really feeling myself living in my purpose and living my dream. And I wouldn't be here without all of you. So I want to say thank you to all of you. Now, that being said, this community is not for everybody. So maybe this isn't for you. Here are some of the reasons why this might not be for you. If you're not ready to make health your top priority, some people really aren't ready to do that. And that's okay if that's not where you're at right now. But if you're not, then this is not the community for you. The second one is if you're unwilling to challenge some of your limiting beliefs, things like I can't lose weight, things like I can't stop eating ice cream, things like I just have bad genetics, I'm just big boned, that's why I can't do it. I had limiting beliefs like that for a long time, and I wasn't willing to let all of them go because they were a part of my identity. They can be a part of your identity, but you have to have some willingness to be able to challenge them and let them go. If you're not, then you will not see sustainable results. And if you're not willing to try that, then this wouldn't be the community for you either. But when you are in a better place to do that, which may never come, it may never come. I mean, the best time to challenge these limiting beliefs is now, but you have to be willing to do that. And the third one, probably the most important one, and one that fell for me, there was a time in my life where this is all I was focused on. I was more interested in losing weight as quickly as possible than on making sure the results actually last. So I was more interested in how can I lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks than I was how can I lose 2 pounds per week and then actually keep the weight off, right? And partially it's because I was addicted to weight loss. I was addicted to the high on seeing results on the scale. So more weight loss felt like more health, more endorphins in my brain, and better feeling. We challenge all of those things because we know they're not sustainable. That's why me and so many of you listening to this right now have lost weight. Probably everyone listening to this has lost weight at some point in their life and then gained the weight back. We know that we have to do some things that are different if we want to keep it off. If you want to get a result that you've never had, you have to do something that you've never done before. And that's what this community is. I'm excited to work with all of you that are already on the wait list and get to know you more on a personal level and to be on this journey right there alongside you. You're not alone. You absolutely have what it takes to lose weight and keep it off forever. Let's get into talking about social situations and weight loss. It's easy to lose, I shouldn't say easy. It's easier to lose weight if you have a zero social life, right? If you're in complete control of what you're eating every single time and you're in complete control of your environment, and you're on the common sense diet, which we talk about, where you're utilizing the common sense framework. You've stocked your kitchen with foods that are supporting you in your weight loss journey. They're mostly whole, real, natural, single ingredient foods. Lots of meat, fruit, rice, vegetables, potatoes, dairy products, eggs, Greek yogurt, right? Things that humans have been eating for tens of thousands of years, and less processed foods. We know that in doing so, we're going to naturally consume less calories, but sometimes that just goes out the fucking window when we're eating out, right? So here's how I navigate eating out. We're talking about, this is all a part of the common sense diet and the common sense framework. So the first thing to keep in mind when you're eating out is always come back to common sense. If you look at two meals side by side, or you look at a menu, you know just by looking at it, if you really take a breath and think, which meal is supporting you more on your sustainable weight loss journey. You already know. Let's come back to common sense in these moments, right? Here are some things to consider. Number one, when you go out, do not be the person that is on a diet. You are not on a diet. You are just prioritizing your health by making healthier choices. Don't let the food control you. Your identity is not tied to food. Your identity is not tied to the diet that you're on because you're not on a diet. You're just making healthier choices so that you can feel better in your own body, right? So if you're out with friends at a fast food joint or a restaurant or whatever, and someone says, oh, he's on a diet to the waiter or the waitress, look at them and say, actually, I'm not on a diet. I'm just prioritizing my health. That's because you can't diet forever. Dieting is a means to an end. We talk about this all the time. There's a reason why we're talking about some of the concepts multiple times here. It's because they're so important. So important. And it's important that you know that we are not on a diet. Every time that I film a podcast, an ambulance goes by my apartment. So you guys are going to hear that right now. Every single time, like 4 episodes in a row. There's a lot going on here downtown Austin, Texas. You're not on a diet. You're prioritizing your health. You're building a framework rooted in common sense that is going to become second nature to you over time. So you don't want to be the person, when you think about your friends that are on a diet, right, or have been on a diet, when you go out with them and they're like, oh, I can't eat that appetizer because I'm on a diet, there's almost this like, oh my God, it's so annoying. Like it's so, oh, you're keto, so you can't drink a beer with us? You know, like you're intermittent fasting, so you can't eat breakfast, you can't go out to brunch with your friends or with your family. It's just, at what point are you a slave to your diet, right? And we've talked about that before. You don't want to be the person asking the waitress how many calories are in the steak with fries. You don't want to be the person that is on a diet when you go out, because when you're on a diet, that means that when you quote unquote mess up, you get pulled off of your diet. And when you're off of your diet, it's really hard to get back onto your diet. So just never diet in the first place. Just make healthier choices around food, because you can do that forever. So here's some steps to follow when you go out with your friends. Pull out a pen if you're in a good position to do that and write some of these down step by step. Here's exactly what to do when you go out, because you're still going to want to go out with your friends. If you're not going out because you're trying to lose weight, then food is controlling you. Food is here to make our lives better. It's here to help us connect with other people. It's here to be a part of culture. It's here to be a part of eating mom's apple pie. This idea that you're never going to eat out, or you're never going to eat something that's quote unquote unhealthy or not supporting your health, doesn't make any sense, right? The idea that you're never going to go get a drink with your friends ever again because you're losing weight doesn't make any sense. You have to find some balance. The most sustainable way to do it is to have some balance. So when mom makes apple pie, or you go out to your favorite restaurant with your family for your birthday or for your kid's birthday, this idea that you're not going to get the meal that you get once a year because you're dieting means that you're missing out on an experience. We want to get to the point where we can have a piece of mom's apple pie without taking 2 or 3 of her pies home and then eating 2 or 3 pieces of them every day for a month until the pies are gone. That's the difference between having a healthy relationship with food and an unhealthy relationship with food. But do you know what else is unhealthy? Sorry, Mom, I can't eat the apple pie because I'm on a diet. Yes, you can eat 1 piece. You can go out to a restaurant and you can eat foods that might not be supporting you. The same way that when you go out to get a drink, you know that alcohol is poison. You're intentionally poisoning yourself for the sake of culture and connection. That's a part of being human. A lot of us do that. It's okay if you're doing that. It doesn't mean that you have to, but you don't have to beat yourself up about it at the same time. So here's what we're going to do. Number 1, plan ahead. Look at the menu. Write this down. Plan ahead. Look at the menu when you go out. Have an idea of what you're going to order before you go there. Sometimes you go out and you don't know exactly where you're going, but most of the time you do. So just look at the menu beforehand so that you're not making last-second decisions when you're out. That's the number 1 thing to do. Number 2, don't eat food that you hate just because it's quote-unquote healthy or low-calorie. Don't eat food that you hate just because it's going to help you be under your calorie goal. Find things that you actually like, or at least that you don't dislike. For example, you might love deep-fried chicken strips. Who doesn't love deep-fried chicken strips, right? You might just like grilled chicken strips. Opt for the grilled chicken strips. Common sense here is that we can prioritize grilled over fried. We know that that's going to be less calories. We know that we're going to feel better after we eat that, right? If you visualize eating 5 chicken strips that are deep-fried versus 5 chicken strips that are grilled, you can close your eyes and 30 minutes later imagine what you're going to feel like. The first one is bloated, lethargic, tired. The second one is, oh, I feel fine. I don't have many cravings. Was it as good when I ate it? No, it's not, because it's not designed for you to be addicted to it the way that deep-fried food is, right? But there are some sacrifices that you're going to have to make, and your palate will adjust over time. Doesn't mean you can't ever eat deep-fried chicken strips ever again. It just means that you shouldn't be eating them every week or every other day or every time that you drive by McDonald's or go to a restaurant. So opt for grilled over fried. Write this down. Prioritize grilled over fried. Prioritize low-calorie sauce over high-calorie sauce. So ketchup over ranch. Vinaigrette over Caesar dressing. It might be salsa over Thousand Island sauce or some other kind of thicker, higher-calorie sauce, right? Write down for sides. We're looking for healthier swaps wherever we can. Instead of chips, what if we got fruit? If you're out with coworkers at a sandwich place, instead of getting a sandwich with chips, what if you got a sandwich with fruit? Instead of French fries, what if you got vegetables? Instead of getting a steak with a bunch of fries and then dipping the fries in ranch, what if instead you got the same steak with some vegetables on the side? Are vegetables as good as French fries? No, they're not. But you can't eat French fries every day. The common sense diet is about eating 80% whole, real, natural, single ingredient foods, right? And you start getting into French fries that are fried and just coated in more oil than you really need. Not that oil is necessarily bad for you, but just think about how bloated you feel after you eat a bunch of French fries. Think about how you feel if you overeat on French fries. You could eat a lot of steak and feel full, but feel good full. Think about the good full from eating steak and vegetables versus the tired, like not good tired, like bloated tired feeling from eating a bunch of fries with steak. They're very different feelings. Connect with your body and focus on how the food makes you feel. That's how we make decisions when we eat out or when we ever eat. So also write down, prioritize protein. Protein makes you feel full when you eat it. So anytime that you can eat more protein when you're out, you're going to have less room for the other things that we typically overeat on, like carbs or like high-fat foods. Carbs and high-fat foods are not necessarily bad for you, right? We need balance. Carbs are great for energy. Fat is great for your hormones and for creating good blood work for yourself and for feeling good and for feeling full, right? But protein, ultimately, when you prioritize it, is going to leave you feeling good. It's going to leave you feeling not tired. So that might look like getting double meat and no rice, right? You go to Chipotle and say, hey, if you typically go to a place like Chipotle or a place where you're building your own thing, right, at a fast food place or at a restaurant, you could get something, you might typically get something like chicken with rice with nacho cheese sauce with salsa, right? It's pretty high calorie, but it's pretty high protein too because you got chicken. What if instead of that, you did double chicken and you asked for a 1/4 serving of rice? Like I just want a little bit of rice in there with a half serving of cheese, and then you put a bunch of lettuce and a bunch of vegetables, onions, jalapenos, tomatoes in there with some salsa. Then you just skipped on the sour cream. I mean, you can get that down to a half to a third of the amount of calories with double or more of the protein, and you're going to feel way better after you eat that, right? It comes back down to common sense framework. So what about appetizers when you're out at a restaurant with your friends? Appetizers for the table. You don't need to be the person that says, sorry guys, I can't eat an appetizer because I'm on a diet, because you're not on a diet. You could just find some balance, right? And the way to do that is to eat a normal serving of the appetizer. Eat one of whatever. Or if there's chips for the table, eat 7 or 8 chips. Put them all on a little plate, right? Eat them and then put your napkin on the appetizer plate so that the waiter comes and takes your plate away. That's a sign for the waiter or the waitress that you're done with that plate, and then ask them for another napkin for the main course, right? That's how you work to the appetizers. If you're out with people that you're close with, like your family, and they know that you're working on prioritizing food and health, you could tell them, hey, y'all, I'm struggling with this, and I'm hoping that I'm just putting this out there because I want to hold myself accountable by telling you, but I really am just going to practice only eating one serving of this appetizer. It might make me kind of uncomfortable, and I'll probably think about food a little bit, but I just want to tell you guys that so that I could hold myself accountable. And if you're close with the people that you're out with, they'll say, no problem. Let us know how we can support you. You'd be amazed how willing people are to support you when you start taking care of yourself. And when you phrase it like that in a way that's like, hey, I could really use your help here, right? But you don't necessarily need the help of those people. You do have what it takes. So if you find yourself wanting more, sit with the discomfort of that craving. Sit with the discomfort. I've got another podcast episode and a lot of content on how to work through cravings. If you're feeling emotionally tied to it, or like you're in a position where you start binging, go listen to those other podcast episodes on emotional and binge eating, and also on conquering cravings as well. And if you overindulge, so this is the most important thing, right? People overindulge. People eat too much. People with healthy relationships with food eat too much. I have a very healthy relationship with food. I sometimes still eat too much and go, ooh, I don't feel very good. I think I ate too much. The difference is between me now and me 5 years ago when I was fat as fuck is that now I just go, oh yeah, I definitely ate too much. That's okay. And then I just forget about it. And then I just kind of move on. Whereas before, I would have gone, oh, I ate too much. Oh my God, I'm over on my calories. Now that I'm over on my calories, well, I got to know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to skip breakfast and lunch tomorrow. and then just wait to eat till dinner and then get to dinner and then be hungry and then overeat and then take a day off of eating. And then I'm obsessed about calories and what am I going to eat and what time am I going to eat? Food is controlling your mind. Food was controlling my mind. Look, if you overate on one meal, it's not that big of a deal. Let's just keep prioritizing our health, starting with the next time we eat. Let's not take a break and restrict ourselves because we ate too much at dinner. Let's not drastically undereat because we're planning a quote-unquote cheat meal. There are no cheat meals. You can't have a cheat meal if you're not restricting yourself, because there's no such thing as cheating. You can only have a cheat meal if you say, I'm not allowed to eat ice cream because I'm on a diet. Then if you eat ice cream, then that's a cheat meal. But if you just say, I'm not on a diet, I'm prioritizing my health, and the way that I'm prioritizing my health is eating 80 to 90% whole, real, natural foods and just making common sense decisions around foods that I know are better for me and eating more foods that are good for me and less foods that are processed. But sometimes I still eat processed foods. Sometimes I still eat junk foods, the same way that I sometimes still go get a beer with my friends, even though I know alcohol is not good for me and it's fine. So yes, I'm going to have a scoop of ice cream and I'm not going to feel bad about it. It's not a cheat meal because most of what I eat is really supporting my health. I'm going to eat this ice cream. I'm going to sit with it and savor every single bite. I'm going to taste this ice cream and breathe in between bites and taste it for the way that it was meant to be tasted. I'm not just going to eat the whole pint and, while I'm watching Netflix or standing in the kitchen. I'm going to sit down with no distractions, with no social media, and enjoy the fact that I'm at a pizza parlor with my family. And I'm going to enjoy the fact that I'm at an ice cream place with my family. Here's a quote that's going to change your life. And I do so much talking to myself. The way that I talk on this podcast, I talk to myself all the time to start putting words to these different concepts that I feel, but I just haven't found a way to say them all the right way, right? Here's one that I came up with recently that really puts into words exactly perfectly what I want you to understand about sustainable weight loss and a healthy relationship with food. Sustainable weight loss and healthy relationship with food is less about what you eat and more about why you're eating it. Let's say that again. A healthy relationship with food and sustainable permanent weight loss is less about what you eat and more about why you are eating it. Are you eating pizza because you're sad, lonely, and bored and watching Netflix and you got Domino's delivered, so you ate 4 pieces? Or are you eating pizza because your kid's best friend or your neighbor's kid is having a birthday party at a pizza place and you had 2 pieces of it? Feel the difference between those two things, right? One of them is, I'm here, celebration. Food is a part of us celebrating. Are you at a buffet with your coworkers because it's just what you guys do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you just don't really think about it? It's not that good for you. Or are you at a buffet because it's your grandma's 70th birthday and she likes the Old Country buffet or the Golden Corral or whatever? And then there's just a difference between those two things. It's mindfulness versus mindlessness. Are you eating pie because it's mom's apple pie and she made it for you? Or are you eating pie because you really wanted some sugar and you walked to the store and got a whole pie and ate the whole thing? It's less about what you eat. It's more about why you're eating it. You don't have to restrict yourself from these things, but you owe it to yourself to practice having some balance around them. Now, all this being said, if you're around people that want to go out and eat shit every day, like your coworkers that go to the pizza joint every day for lunch or the buffet every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or whatever it is, you might have to set some boundaries with them. There's an element of you are the sum and the average of all of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, right? So if you hang out with people that are all fat as fuck, the way that I used to be, it will be harder to lose weight. It just will be, because habits are contagious. And we're constantly being brainwashed by people around us. You're in some ways being brainwashed by this very podcast. The content that you see online or that you listen to really impacts your life, right? And it goes the same with the people that you're around. If you're around people that are always negative, you're going to be negative and focused on negativity. If you're constantly scrolling on social media and seeing things about politics that just make you feel like shit or make you angry, that is impacting every single area of your life. So how can we set some boundaries with other people around us? The first one is tell them how they can support you. Hey, Jim from work. Hey, man, I love going out to lunch with you. I'm just trying to find a way to make some healthier choices. And it's hard because we get pizza every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And man, I got to set a boundary here. So I'm going to start going to some other places or start bringing my food. But I just want to tell you that. And I know that's kind of weird to say, but I really want to prioritize my health. So that's number one. Number two, invite them on the journey with you. Jim, I know that we've talked about like what it would be like if we got in better shape. What would it be like if we prioritized our health? Hey, would you want to do this with me? It would be fun if maybe we could be accountability buddies, right? What do you think? You got any interest? Number one, tell them how they can support you. Your friends, your family, your coworkers, the people that you go out and do these things with. And number two, invite them on the journey with you if you want to. You don't have to do that. That is totally up to you. What about alcohol in weight loss? People ask me all the time, can you drink alcohol while losing weight? And I just think that it's actually the wrong question to ask. I drank alcohol on my weight loss journey. There were times when I didn't drink, but for the most part, I was drinking. The question isn't, can you drink alcohol while losing weight? The question is, can you have one or two drinks without having 5 or 6? The question is, can you have 1 or 2 drinks without getting a triple cheeseburger with the side of fries, 3 ranch dressings, and a large milkshake? Right? The question is, can you have 1 or 2 drinks and then wake up the next morning and make healthy choices, even though you might be a little tired or a little bit hungover? And I can't answer those questions for you, but the unfortunate reality is that if you're asking, then you probably know the answer. It's about having self-control. Once you learn self-control around food or alcohol or any other area in your life, you realize that it's all the same mental muscle and it applies to everything. So as you develop a healthier relationship with food, you're probably going to find you develop a healthier relationship with alcohol, or the other way around as well. If you have an unhealthy relationship with alcohol, or you're someone that's having 5+ drinks a week and you're eating like shit all the time, one of the best things you can do for your health is cut back on booze or cut booze out for a while or maybe forever, right? That's a personal decision. I enjoy alcohol. I like going out and having 1 or 2 drinks once a week, maybe twice a week sometimes, not typically, right? But I enjoy that. It's a part of my lifestyle. It's a part of meeting people. It's a part of going out with my friends. It's a part of experiencing the beautiful city of Austin, Texas that I live in. It's a part of the culture here, and I really like that a lot. But if you're drinking more than 5 drinks a week, one of the easiest things you can do to lose weight is to drink less alcohol, and because you're also going to make better decisions around food. You're going to sleep better. You're going to have more energy. And you're going to make healthier choices because you're going to feel better day to day. But if you're going to drink alcohol, here are some rules that you can follow. Number one, don't eat less food before drinking alcohol to save on the calories. That's a recipe for disaster. Number two is eat more nourishing food so you're less likely to have cravings. You don't want to have cravings while you're under the influence of alcohol because then you're going to be more likely to give into those cravings. So eat a lot of natural foods. Don't eat a cheeseburger at McDonald's because it's low calorie and then go out and drink because you're going to be malnourished while also being in a calorie deficit trying to lose weight. And then you throw alcohol in there and you're fucked. Of course, you're going to end up getting three triple cheeseburgers or whatever because you're going to be starving and malnourished and then also under the influence. The third thing is prioritize low-calorie drinks. Instead of a margarita, get a vodka soda. Instead of an IPA, get a light beer. You're going to save hundreds of calories per drink by making some of these swaps. And if you're having multiple drinks a week, you could save 1,000+ calories per week, which might be a half of a day's worth of calories for you. 14% of your calories can be saved by just making a transition to lower calorie drinks. Stay hydrated. Have 2 glasses of water for every alcohol serving. When you go out, drink a glass of water, have a drink of alcohol, and then drink 2 more glasses of water. And then if you're going to have another drink of alcohol, then do that. If you don't want to drink, but you get shit for it and people around you are, you're too cool to drink, don't tell anyone that you're not drinking. Go up to the bartender and ask them to make you a drink in a glass like a normal drink that looks like a drink but has no alcohol. Get a soda water with a lime. If anybody asks, tell them it's a vodka soda. No one's going to know the difference, right? And that really, you could even tell the bartender that you're the designated driver, like whatever it takes. But recognize also if you need alcohol to be around your friends or to have fun with them, then you probably need to evaluate those friendships. If you can't be around people without alcohol, that is either an internal problem with yourself or it's an issue with the relationship that you have with those people, because drinking all the time is inherently unsustainable. You're not going to lose weight and keep it off if you're drinking a ton of alcohol all the time. And if you do, I mean, you might, you're going to feel like shit and you're not going to look as good or feel as good as you would if you cut back on alcohol. So if the only time that you're able to see your friends or have fun is when you guys are getting drunk or getting buzzed, just recognize that those friendships probably aren't as real as you probably think they are. And that's hard to hear. And that was hard for me to hear too. Even years into my weight loss journey, 2 or 3 years ago, I went through transitioning out of my friend groups and finding other people that had interests that I wanted to be interested in. And going out and getting super drunk once, twice per week isn't something that I'm interested in anymore. If you made it to the end of the episode, I greatly appreciate you being here. Please leave this podcast an honest review on whatever platform you're listening on, either Spotify, Apple, Podbean, or another platform. It's the best way that you can support this podcast, because the more ratings, anywhere from 1 to 5 stars, that this podcast has, the more likely it is to get pushed to other people. And we want to grow this community, this platform, and this message, and this movement of you absolutely have what it takes to lose weight and keep it off. It has to do with adopting a healthier mindset. And the person that you become on the journey of losing weight and addressing these things that we've been avoiding, or we just don't think that we can do, is the person that you actually want to be. And it's the person that you actually are. If you've made it through all of these podcast episodes, I just want to show you some gratitude because listening to someone talk for 28 episodes is so involved. And we've been on this journey now for 6.5 or 7 months. It's been great to speak with so many of you. If we haven't spoken yet, shoot me a voice message on Instagram or any other platform, and I will respond with equal effort every single time. This is the last opportunity to join the waitlist before we go live. So if you want the benefits of being a founding member for the Drop It community, you want to lose weight and actually keep the weight off, if you resonate with the messages that I'm telling you or that we've been speaking about together here in this podcast, that's a sign that you should look into this community, because everything is built into a structured way in this community platform. Looking forward to working with you all. You absolutely have what it takes to lose weight and keep it off forever, and we will see you next week.